Hey guys, it's DT. Very excited for today's video because as you can see here on the table, we have Castle Grayskull. Now this isn't just any Castle Grayskull, this is the actual Castle Grayskull from my childhood. I found this thing in my parents' garage. They were gonna get rid of it, but I said, no, I have to have it. So it's a little bit dusty, it's missing some of the parts. We don't have the drawbridge. The accessories are long gone, but we still have this very iconic shell of a castle. And I brought it out because today I am unboxing my very first Masters of the Universe statue. So I thought it was very fitting. You guys already know I love the Transformers, and growing up in the 80s, it was all about Star Wars action figures, G.I. Joe, and the Masters of the Universe. So space is a little limited these days, but I wanted to have at least one He-Man statue, and I think I found the perfect one. So this thing came in 2 boxes, one huge box, one smaller box. I'm really excited to show you guys this piece, so let's get them open. So we're gonna start off with the big box. Okay, let's see what we have here. Ooh. So it looks like we have an art print. Got a little bit bent in the box, but pretty cool. There is the battle armor with the battle axe. It's even signed down here at the bottom. They made 60 of these. This is number 4. Then we have some black foam. Let's go ahead and lift this top layer off. We got a He-Man portrait right here. This is kind of a screaming portrait. Seeing that mouth of his. He's got the flowing blonde hair. See what else we have in here. And here is the torso with the battle armor. And I remember having this toy as a kid, and if you like push this in, it would do this flip thing, and on the other side would be battle damaged armor. Super cool. I think I played with that until it broke and didn't work anymore. Nice shiny armor, really nice muscles there. See some of that skin texture. Here's a look at the back. Some very ripped delts, veiny biceps. Since we have the portrait here, go ahead and stick the head on there. Pretty awesome. The cool thing is there's actually a stand to display the other portrait and torso. Basically get 2 statues in one. So one of these will be going on my desk. The other one will be going on the statue. I'm not really sure where I'm gonna display this guy since I'm only planning on having He-Man. So he's kind of a one-off in my collection, and he'll probably get his own little corner somewhere. Looks like we have He-Man's legs. Got some well-formed quads. Just look at that striated muscle there. He's got the little furry undies on. Nice metallic belt. Boots look really good. He's got a key and peg on his right foot. Another little peg on the left. So hopefully this guy should be pretty solid on the base. Got a big keyhole there for his torso. Oh, looks like we have a little surprise in here. We have another little credit card. This was from the same group that did that Samurai Wolverine. I'm not sure what this is. We'll put it aside for now. So it looks like we can move on to the next layer. Okay, and here's what we have on that bottom layer. We can see the base here sticking out. Looks like we have a flag. Very bright red flag. All this crazy texture. Here we have a hand holding the handle of the axe. Same nice little metallic gauntlet wristband. Here's a look at the axe. Some great battle damage in there. Nice sharp blade. And I guess it just fits in like this. And then we have the other hand holding the shield. This thing looks really cool. We've got the matching metallic here. Nice detail there holding the little straps. I'm not sure if we can get the base out yet. So let's go ahead and remove this. And all the little foam falls out everywhere, but we'll clean that up later. All right, we got the stand. We've got all the dirt and cracks. I think I remember breaking this off of my Castle Grayskull when I was a kid. So here is the little cannon. Very cool. Got the little sight there on the top. So not only do you get to fight with swords and axes, but you got a gun too. So this piece right here just keys right into there, like that. We'll figure out where these go in a bit. And I think that leaves us with the base. It's in there pretty good. They got it wedged in with all this extra foam. Oh, I think this is one of the highest bases I've ever seen. We've definitely unboxed some big bases, but those are usually wide or deep. This one is very high. Can't even fit it all in the camera. Look at that thing. Little scratches and aging on that weathered green stone. Got all these little things growing on it. It's got some weight, but it's not overly heavy. It's kind of good if you need to move it. It's not meant to be the full castle, but you know what it is when you see it. A couple of keyholes there for He-Man, for the cannon. Let me go ahead and clean up this box. There is one more box. I believe that has the alternate torso and head. So let me go ahead and get that unboxed. And let's see what we have here. So here we have our other He-Man torso. He's got the classic harness on. You can see a little bit more of that anatomy. You can see his abs, his little intercostal muscles, sides of his pecs. Got some major lats going on here. Look at his back. Here's the other portrait, a bit calmer than the other one. You guys know I love those screaming portraits. This one looks pretty cool too. Same flowing golden locks. Let's try this one on here. There we go. Very stoic looking pose. We have a hand. He's holding a much smaller hilt. This one is for the sword. Ah yes, just as I remember it. There we go. I have the power. We have another hand holding a shield. I'm not sure if this shield is any different than the other one. It's like a little bit of red paint got on there. That could be blood, I guess. Then we have the extra stand. Got a little bit of the castle. And instead of green, we've got these blue little horns sticking out with all the little vines. We have this kind of black that's supposed to kind of disappear. And then you'll be left with this floating He-Man torso. I love when companies let you display every last inch of the statue. It's kind of a bad feeling anytime you have to pack away some of the switch outs. Someone went through all the trouble to sculpt and paint it. To not be able to display it just seems like a big waste. But there you go. That was the unboxing. Get this thing over to the table, put it together, and then I'll show you guys all the great details of He-Man. Okay guys, we got the pieces here on the table. It is now time to witness the power of Grayskull. So we've got the huge base here on the turntable, looking excellent. We've got to start off with the legs. That's just gonna key in over here on the right foot. There's also a little peg and peg hole on the left side. Pretty nice fit. This thing's not going anywhere. As you can see, He-Man's already up to my chest. And then he's gonna be even higher with his hand raised with the sword. We're gonna go ahead and give him the armored body, since that's what we opened first. That just keys in right here. Let's give him the screaming portrait. Love those screaming portraits. Just like that. So we have two different hand options. Both of these hands with their weapons are interchangeable, so that's cool. You can either have it on the main statue or on the little proximity base. We're gonna go ahead, give him the battle axe for this one. As I showed you guys before, axe just keys into his hand like that. Look how high that axe is. And then on the other hand, we have the shield. These shields, I believe, are exactly the same, but it's kind of cool that they give us two because one can go on this piece while one goes on this one. And I believe they're working on a hand that's not holding the shield, but that's in production right now and they're gonna send that later. But right now we have two identical shield holding hands. As I said before, one of mine has a little red mark on it. So we're gonna use the clean one for this. And that just keys in like that. So there we go. And then we can't forget about the little cannon. There is a little magnet right here and a little place where you can slide this in, it looks like. We can just stick the cannon on right here. And that goes off to the right of He-Man's leg. And then we have this big red flag, which keys in over here, it looks like. Just like that. We have these two pieces right here. I believe these are the handles to the cannon. I think they just go on the edges of these pieces. That one fits on pretty well. I'm not sure if it's just friction holding that thing on, but this one just wants to kind of slide out. There doesn't appear to be any magnet on that. I think this stuff, which I thought was double-sided tape, is actually the little sticky putty Just pull some of that off, kind of shove it in there. You don't want to put too much, otherwise it's going to stick out. Just a little bit of that putty. And I see this stuff on prototypes all the time, so I'm not sure if they just forgot to put a magnet there or if this was the intended way to assemble it, but works for me. If you really wanted to, you could probably glue this on. Then we have our extra base, or the little display stand, and we'll go ahead and put the classic torso on here. Actually, both of these are classic. This is just the original, I guess. Stick this portrait on. Same thing with the hands. Pop it in like that, and then give him a shield. Bam. All right, guys, so that was the assembly. Not too difficult. I'll go ahead and give these guys a spin, and we'll be back with the review. So for all my comic book peeps out there, I've got this one right here. This is the Masters of the Universe #1, put out by Marvel Comics in 1986. I don't think it's his first comic book appearance, but this was the one book from my collection that I had as a kid. This one was a 9.4, probably because this was a comic that I would just read. When I got this one graded, I don't even think this had a backing board in it. By the Power of Grayskull, first issue collector's item. So let's get on to this massive piece right here. This is definitely one of the biggest He-Man statues on the market, if not the biggest. So when I was trying to decide which He-Man statue to add to the collection, I needed the most epic one, and I think it's here. We've got this massive Castle Grayskull inspired base. I don't think it's actually supposed to be Castle Grayskull because of its scaled down size. He-Man is not the size of a castle, so it's more symbolic than anything. But a lot of cool details in there. It's got a very vibrant green, along with these darker shadows, which contrast nicely to He-Man. It doesn't get lost as much as some of the darker gray and black bases, and it actually acts as a secondary character in this piece. Very recognizable with the deep set eyes and nose, but it's also got its own unique design with these little horns sticking out. Details on that look really good with all the little vines growing on it. We have the little wood walkway here on the side. Now the wood does have that kind of smooth, glossy finish on it, which kind of doesn't make it look realistic, but they did a good job with the colors. It's on the back as well, so it doesn't really stick out, but all the stonework, all the shading look great. And kind of framing up the statue here, we have this big red flag on one side, and then to balance that out, on the other side we have the cannon, also red in color. Moving up to He-Man, this guy looks incredible. He's got that Mr. Olympia physique going, very nicely sculpted muscles on him. He's got the huge striated quads. He's got a massive upper body, nice muscle separation in those arms. And I love the battle armor on this one. It's got some nice weathering, some nice shading on that armor. He's got the matching belt and gauntlet. I love those nice metallic colors they used on that. He's got the sculpted furry undies, some matching fur there on the top of his boots. We got the leather straps, very nice and rugged looking. His left hand is holding the shield with his hand firmly gripping one of the straps on the inside. I love this screaming portrait here. I might have made his tongue and the inside of his mouth maybe a tad darker. Right now it kind of comes across as being a little bit purplish, and maybe the eyes could have been painted a little bit better. Maybe some catch lights in there to kind of bring some more life to it. Right now the insides of his eyes look a little bit square, but I think overall it looks really good. In his right hand he's got the axe. The paint and weathering on that look fantastic. I think this pose and the overall statue just encapsulates the power of He-Man. Just a massive amount of presence and domination. Since we have the body on here, let's go ahead and switch it out. We'll go ahead and switch out his head first. All of these pieces are interchangeable. I don't know if that was the original plan, but it definitely makes sense. So here he is with the closed mouth. There is a little bit of a seam where his head connects to his neck. But in order to make these two heads interchangeable, I think that was inevitable. They could have cut it here at the neck, but then it wouldn't fit on this statue right here. And then if they cut this one lower to fit with the armor, it wouldn't fit on that one. Personally, I think you have to have the screaming portrait if He-Man is on top of Castle Grayskull like this, but the closed mouth makes sense as well. Let's go ahead and switch out the hand now. We'll take the sword. So here is another option. We got the battle armor with the sword. Now the sword has always been very iconic. I used to run around the house fighting my brother. We had two of these. I think we had the He-Man sword and then we had the Skeletor sword. And we would just fight each other with that thing until it would fall apart. And it would actually split into two, and then we'd have two swords. So we can take one sword, break it in half, and then fight with the sword in each hand. So I'm kind of leaning towards using the sword. Let's go ahead and switch out that torso now. All right, here is the other torso, and right now he's got the battle axe. We're gonna have to give him the sword. So there it is, classic He-Man. He definitely has the power here. I like the battle armor a lot, but I really love this classic He-Man look. We get a closer look at the anatomy of the piece. You can see all that extra musculature in his pec, abs, and back. I love how the straps are very similar to how the toy was, with the connections there in the back. Now, my one little nitpick with this option is that the harness here does come across being a little bit flat. It's pretty much painted the same color throughout the entire harness, both on the main chest plate here as well as on the straps. I would have loved to see a little bit more color variation, some areas where it was a little bit more dingy, adding a little bit of shadow and dimension into this, but still very cool. My guess is that they were aiming a little bit more towards matching the toy and those classic designs. So there isn't a clear winner between these two options. Definitely like the classic look, but they did the armor so well on this one that it's hard to make a choice. And then we have the base here on this cool little stand. As you can see, it's painted a little bit differently. We have sort of a lighter bluish green and then even more blue on the horns here. And I think that's kind of cool because this green is actually the more predominant green that's on the original toy. We'll go ahead and bring this guy back out. And as you can see, we got a variation of greens here. We got the brighter green here on the inside. And then towards the outside right here, we have that lighter bluish green, which I think this one is a nice callback to. Very classy looking base. Kind of just disappears here with the black background. It looks like He-Man's torso is kind of floating in midair. All right, guys, so that was a look at my custom He-Man statue. Amazing piece. Really glad I decided to add this guy to my collection. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.